Thanks for watching Notepad. I'm your host Ibrahim Sani. Today we shall talk about luxury travels, in particular luxury escapes. One of the world's fastest growing travel luxury brands. They have recently launched a dedicated site for Malaysian travelers, and they say this is part of the company's plans to strengthen their presence in this part of the world. Joining me is Graham Hills, the head of Asia for Luxury Escapes. Graham, thanks for having the time to speak with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about your company per se.
Yes.
What is it about? What are you guys championing?
So we're really trying to bring affordability of luxury holidays to the mass affluent market in Asia. Doing that from a base in Australia where we've built the business. We're now expanding into Asia, and Malaysia is a key component of that expansion.
The conversation is of course quite important as well because of the growing segment of this particular mass affluent group. We're not talking about the middle class, we're talking about slightly upper class and not really the ultra rich. And it's not just in Malaysia, everywhere in Southeast Asia we see a growing class of these consumers in Indonesia, in Vietnam, in Singapore. But isn't it a bit competitive to jump into this market where it's actually quite easy for your competitors to start doing? Do you think that you have the competitive advantage to do whatever it takes to actually grab that market share?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think we come from a very strong base in Australia. So Australians travel a lot. They spend quite a significant amount of money on their travel. And we're able to build on that base that we have in Australia when we're negotiating with the hotels where we have our deals. So that strong base in Australia combined with an emerging number of travelers in Asia really strengthens our proposition to the hotels, and I think gives us a very competitive position in this market.
What are the trends for the luxury travel business right now? I
mean, as you said, we do see that emerging middle class, mass affluent. In Malaysia, that's quite strong. Around 78% of the population here are in the middle class to mass affluent. That's stronger than what we see in Thailand and Indonesia. So Malaysia represents a significant opportunity. I think we're seeing people think more about their travel. People are starting to spend more as they earn more. And travel is one of those discretionary spends that does increase as people increase from a wealth point of view. A lot of what we're seeing is travel within the region. So Malaysians either holidaying at home or elsewhere within the ASEAN region. And we're seeing people have more trips on an annual basis than what we've seen in the past.
So what we're looking at is greater frequency for regional travel, not so much intercontinental travel per se.
Yeah, so what we see in Asia is typically shorter stays and more frequent than what we see from Australian travellers who, when coming into Asia, it's a longer haul flight. So when you're travelling a bit longer, you typically stay longer. Whereas what we see with our Asian customers so far is that 3 to 5 night stay is much preferred to the 7 or 8 night stay that we see out of Australia.
With my personal testament that I would prefer a 3-night stay instead of a 2-week holiday. It's never easy getting away from work for 2 weeks.
Even
right?
with myself, I mean, I'm based in our regional head office in Singapore, and it's much easier to get away for 1 or 2 days tacked on to the weekend than trying to take the full week off. So
absolutely,
and that's part of what we're trying to offer to the Malaysian traveller is the option of 3, 4, 5 night packages as part of the offering that we have.
The fun fact about travel that I read very recently is that about 10% of the Chinese population have passports, and when we talk about 1.4 billion population, that's 140 million people.
Yes.
One conversation that I just had with a fund manager, a friend of mine, he says that imagine this number doubling. I just cannot imagine 280 million people or 300 million people travel around, and it seems that they want to travel close as well.
Yes.
Europe is a good destination for them, but they tend to travel into Southeast Asia. Is this part of the area that you're looking at as well, as in luxury escapes?
Yes, I mean China, we don't have a presence in China currently, but it is very much on our radar. It's a slightly more challenging market to to enter than some of the other markets, at least here in Southeast Asia. And I think dealing with the Chinese traveller also presents some interesting new challenges that are perhaps less prevalent in other source markets.
Okay, let's talk about the business that you want to build in Malaysia in particular, about creating a site for that, or a dedicated site in the realm of IR 4.0, information technology, iPad, iPhone. Why would you need to create a substantially different kind of proposition by creating a dedicated site for Malaysians?
So there's a few things that we look at. One is really customizing what we feature to the market. So we might have 50 travel deals on the site at any one time, but the subset of deals that will appeal to the Malaysia market versus our other markets is quite different. So in Malaysia we see quite a strong preference for domestic holidays. So when we look at where our Malaysian customers have been booking, Thailand is number one, but Malaysia from a domestic point of view is number two. Now if we were featuring those Malaysia domestic deals more prevalent in Australia, they would be less appealing than what's working in the market there. So what we feature is one, different types of packages that we have on offer. The 3-5 night stay that I mentioned is something that we do more in Asia than we do in Australia. Things like language, so at the moment we just provide our content in English, but we do have plans to localize further into other Asian languages initially. Being able to pay in Malaysian ringgit as opposed to another currency is a plus point of that localization. And yeah, really just tailoring what we have for the Malaysian traveller.
There's also the concept of, or the branding that you guys have. Do you think that it's a turn off by labeling yourself Luxury Escapes? Would that deter some consumers from going to your kind of site because it's called luxury? I'd rather go to something that is perceived to be cheaper. TripAdvisor, I don't know, AirAsia, something like that, right?
Yeah, I think luxury. There's always the view that luxury is more expensive, and yes, it is.
By definition, in English, it is that,
more
right?
expensive than a budget hotel. But what we're really trying to bring to the traveller is value, and so in our marketing, it's not just about the Luxury Escapes brand, but it's very much about the deals, the hotels, the resorts, the destinations that we're providing holiday packages to. So the brand supports that, but really what we're taking to the market is those unique experiences, those holiday experiences in some really compelling destinations here in Asia and also further afield.
What would be some of the key challenges that you expect your company to go through, at least for 2019?
So, the online space, as you mentioned, is becoming increasingly competitive. There's a number of players, all competing for that share of the media landscape. The cost of media is, typically has been going up. I think, though, with technology, there are efficiencies emerging if we can adopt the right technology, look at the right sort of optimization strategy. So competition is a challenge. I think, too,
the conversations, of course, your competitors as well. Do you have anything that can manage your competitors accordingly?
So I think we have quite a unique proposition at the moment. So we're very different to the more traditional OTAs that sell standalone flights or standalone hotels. What we're selling is a packaged up experience that includes typically transfers to and from the property. It includes meals. It might be access to a club room in the hotel. Other inclusions like spa or meals. So we're really trying to differentiate in the product that we're selling, and it's not just a standalone room only or flight only type experience.
We're running out of time, but going forward, do you guys plan to venture outside? The globe is such a big place. Is Southeast Asia enough for you guys?
No, we have plans to go further afield, so we're looking at the moment at the US and Europe, as well as part of our international expansion.
All right.
Yeah.
Graham, thanks for talking with us. I've been speaking to Graham Hills, the head of Asia for Luxury Escapes. Remember to see their site and see what's interesting for you. Perhaps something might be of liking, I suppose, yeah?
I hope so.
If you want to watch more of these kind of interviews, just head on to astro.com, search for Notepad. In this case, search for Luxury Escapes. I'm Ibrahim Sani. Thanks for staying. Until next time. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.